My daddy uses Anchor to publish his podcast, and he loves it. Not only can he record, edit, and distribute on this platform, but he can make money at the same time, all for free. If you too would like to get started on your own podcast, go to the website anchor.fm or download the free Anchor app. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Let's go!
For my goals, I'm close, I know. You ain't got to tell me so, 'cause I already know. Got my eye on the goals, too close, I know. You ain't gotta tell me so, 'cause I already know. I was summoned by God to be the greatest.
Welcome to another episode of Third Eye Podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to creating open dialogue regarding any and all difficult topics. My name is Marcus Callahan, and I am your host. Thank you for joining me. For this week's episode, I had a guest lined up who I think is absolutely brilliant. She is a TikTok creator and writer, as well as a podcast host like myself. Unfortunately, she had to back out of our scheduled meeting last minute due to a family emergency. I pray that her and her family find peace and that all will be well. I really don't want to spoil the conversation we have planned, but it is a very juicy and controversial topic, and I can't wait to unveil that episode for you guys. But for now, it'll have to wait. So, after I got her cancellation message, I was left thinking, well, the show must go on, but what topic should I talk about instead? Do I reach out to a different guest or do I ride the episode solo? Ultimately, I chose to go it alone for this week for many reasons, but the most important one is this is my podcast and I never want to lose sight of that. I enjoy having guests on and the conversations are always riveting, but I also want to be able to talk to you guys one-on-one like when I first started this show. So, it's just little old me for this episode. I hope you guys will be okay with that. And if not, well, you know. All right. For today's topic, I want to talk about something that I often think about. Escape. Now, when I say escape, I don't mean it in a literal sense. What I mean is, what are the things or devices we as humans use to escape our everyday lives in order for us to be at peace with ourselves? As a husband and father, I rarely have me time. I'm either taking care of my kids, tending to my wife's needs, taking care of our puppy, or trying to keep our house clean while fixing whatever needs to be fixed around the house, on top of working a full-time 40-hour job overnight. You know, my wife is in the exact same boat that I am, only she works during the day. We both struggle to find time to spend together, let alone by ourselves. It can be very straining living your life this way, and we strive every day to find balance and to find a means to no longer have to live this way. But in the meantime, how does one cope? Mental health is a very important issue, and one that is personal to me and my wife. She has dealt with postpartum depression twice, after the birth of our first son and our daughter. Not only that, but she has also lived with regular depression and anxiety for the past 2 years. I have been on the sidelines watching it all happen because as her partner, there's not a whole lot that I can do to help her outside of just being there and supporting her. And even that sometimes feels like it's not enough. We've talked to our therapist about it, and even he says the best way to help her is to just be there when she needs me. But it can be hard to decipher what exactly that means when it comes to different moods, breakdowns, and episodes. I am not in her shoes, and I cannot explain to you what it's like to feel her depression and anxiety. My hope is that I can do a part 2 to this episode where my wife co-hosts so she can explain her experiences to you all. But what I can explain to you is what it's like to watch your partner go through mental health challenges and what I do to help myself cope with the fact that there's not much I can do to stop or help with my wife's depression and anxiety. Depression is like a thief in the night guys. It comes swiftly and can rob you of all of your joy, and in the next moment, it can be gone, at least for the time being. Living with and watching someone you love deal with depression and anxiety is a challenge, yes, but the real challenge is knowing that this isn't something you can just wish away. It's not a physical threat that you can see or put your hands up to in order to fight it. Watching someone you love go from this upbeat, sunny, charismatic person to someone who struggles to get out of bed some days or struggles with wanting to shower or get dressed can be very debilitating. But imagine how it feels for the person actually going through the depression. So I find it hard for me to even think about complaining, knowing what my wife is dealing with. So most days I just try to push those type of thoughts out of my brain, but I'm not always successful at it. In the times when I'm not successful, I find that those are the times when I need an escape the most. And I typically do this by immersing myself in the world of comic books and superheroes. I choose to indulge in that media because it deals with real world problems, but adds an element of fantasy. And who doesn't love some fantasy every now and then, am I right? My all-time favorite hero and comic book is Batman. Not only is his costume dope and the fighting and artistry as well, but the titular character is a person who deals with tragedy and struggles with mental health. There is a constant theme of what would or could happen if someone's mental capacity was pushed too far. You see it displayed through his own struggles, but also that of his villains as well. None more so than the Joker himself. The Joker is a character that everyone believes is insane. And yeah, you can make the argument that he is, but he wasn't always the Joker. Whenever you see those people in the news who commit mass shootings or serial killers, repeat drug offenders, habitual lawbreakers, etc., the word insanity is often thrown around. And once again, yeah, you can make the argument that these people are insane, but they weren't always this way. Now, don't get it twisted. This is not me defending any of the aforementioned actions, but you can't simply write someone off as insane when you don't know what led them to that point in their lives. Someone could be living with depression and one day snap because of something horrific pushing them over the edge. I bring this up, and Batman and the Joker as well, because as the Joker stated in Alan Moore's The Killing Joke graphic novel, all it takes is one bad day for your whole life to change, and from there, it's a domino effect. I want to play a clip from the animated version of The Killing Joke, where Joker explains his bad day. Take a listen.
Let me ask you something. What does it matter if you send me back to the asylum if it doesn't matter to me? I've proven my point. Gordon's been driven mad. I've demonstrated there's no difference between me and everyone else. All it takes is one bad day. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day. You had a bad day once, am I right? Oh, I know I am. I can tell. You had a bad day and everything changed. Dressing up like a flying rat doesn't hide it, it screams it. You had a bad day and it drove you as crazy as everybody else, only you won't admit it. You have to keep pretending that life makes sense, that there's some point to all this struggling. You make me wanna puke. I mean, what is it with you? What made you what you are? Girlfriend killed by the mob, maybe? Brother carved up by some mugger? Something like that, I know. Because something like that happened to me. Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice. My point is, I went crazy. And I'm smart enough to admit it. Why can't you? By clinging to reality, you're denying the reality of the situation. I mean, do you ever think about how many times we've come close to World War III over a flock of geese on a computer screen? Silly goose, it's all a joke. Everything anybody's ever valued or struggled for, it's monstrous. Why can't you see the funny side? Why aren't you laughing?
Because I've heard it before. And it wasn't funny the first time.
To me, that clip and graphic novel in general paint a great picture of how one's mental health can be their downfall. It's a real-world topic that allows me to still think critically about what's going on in my life, but delivers it in a medium that I can relate to and understand. So that's how I choose to escape. We'll be right back in one moment after we hear from today's sponsors. Stay tuned. All right, and we are back. I asked my wife to give me an explanation of how she chooses to cope with her anxiety and depression, and here's what she had to say. I guess with anxiety, a bad coping mechanism is to pick or pop anything and everything. A healthier thing is to really try and quiet my mind by quieting my surroundings. Go somewhere quiet by myself or with a supportive but quiet partner and sit or lay preferably and just try and focus on my breaths, and then I try and just tune in and focus on something I can still hear, like a bird chirping, crickets, the wind, or rain, which is my favorite, things like that. I often, and more so lately, have a really strong urge to just lay out on the driveway while it's raining. I don't know why, but I feel like that would be so therapeutic to me. As for more like depressive states, as opposed to anxiety, I really try and just get up and get moving. Even if it's little stuff like taking a shower or putting actual clothes on or taking a walk to get fresh air, which is also good for higher anxiety times. Even though I start off not feeling up for anything other than becoming one with the couch and the inside of my eyelids, doing simple things like that can help to start putting me in a better frame of mind that in turn helps me complete another task and another, and the more active and productive I start getting, the less depressed I feel in those moments. But I also try and give myself grace if sometimes I really don't have it in me to do more than a shower, dress, or walk. Essentially, in more depressive episodes, the more productive I can be, the more I feel better and come out of that depressive episode. But on the flip side, if I start trying to tackle too much and feel like I'm running out of time or not doing as well or falling behind, then I start becoming more anxious. So it's a constant and ever-shifting balancing act. Thank you, dear, for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. So that's just a small glimpse into how my wife handles her depression and anxiety. I'm very interested to hear how other people cope with it. If you wouldn't mind sharing, you can send me a direct message on Twitter or Instagram at the number 3 RD_I_podcast. That's at @3_I_podcast. Also, I've been told that I am a great listener. So if you ever need someone to vent to, my DMs are open, and so is my heart. Cheesy, I know, but true nonetheless. With all that is going on in the world, I hope that you all are choosing to take care of yourselves, not only physically, but mentally as well. All right, join me next week for another episode of Third Eye Podcast. I'm hoping to have my previously scheduled guest on for her appearance, but if not, I will be back for another solo episode. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe wherever you are listening. And if you or someone you know is starting to display signs of depression or anxiety, please reach out to your primary care physician. Don't wait until it's too late, because all it takes is one bad day. I love you all, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So please be safe, be kind to one another, and love each other. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.